Hey y'all, I'm Allison Asarch from Nashville, Tennessee.
Hey, I'm Sean Fraser from the Ritzy Kids.
Hunters, this is Johnny from Rail Motor.
Hey, it's Shane from Blind Season.
Hey, it's Rob Stanier, and you can check out my music on all the streaming platforms.
Check out my latest music on all the streaming sites.
Check out my debut album on all streaming platforms.
Check out our new debut album.
Check us out on Spotify and Apple Music. And you're listening to our friends, Braggy and Curly.
My favorite bands from Australia.
My two favourite podcasters,
Braggy and Curly.
Braggy and Curly
On the Unfiltered
An Undiscovered
podcast.
Hey there, everyone, and welcome to episode 98 of the Unfiltered and Undiscovered podcast. We've got the crew back together, and tonight is all about, it's a very simple episode. It's simply called We Need Help. You'd agree with that, guys? We need help.
Oh boy, yeah. So many people
ways.
said that to me. So many ways, yeah.
So let's catch up with our amazing co-hosts. We got Rossi in Sydney and we've got Braggy in Adelaide. How are we, gentlemen?
We're better than St. George.
Yeah. I knew that was going to come. I like to think of 18 all with 10 minutes to go, not the 40 to 18 scoreline. So
I can't figure out what happened.
I witnessed it
Oh, they-
firsthand. I witnessed it firsthand,
Yeah.
Rossi. You had the laptop
it's
up,
really
and then all
hard.
of a sudden the laptop just shut down like that. Not watching that anymore.
It became crestfallen, looking sad, a bit disappointed.
But it wasn't just the Dragons, mate. We were watching the Lions play Port, and thank God we didn't go and spend some money to sit at the Oval, because I'd have been totally despondent then. But you know, to be leading at half time and then just for Brisbane Lions to say, well, we've forgotten how to play, it was just incredible. But interesting, totally interesting fact that's useless. Lockie Neal from the Lions was on our plane coming home, Braggy.
Okay.
And he's small. You know how we're talking about the need to be barrel-chested in AFL?
Only if you're an on-baller.
He's tiny. Yeah, well, Lockie's an on-baller, so he's tiny. I thought he was a kid, and then it was only when we landed that he looked around and I said, oh, that's Lockie Neal. So,
Yeah, but yeah, it must be doubly difficult to live in Brisbane and have St. George. Luckily, you're in South Australia, so
Braggy doesn't have to put up with that. He just this Friday night it's the Lions and the Demons, and one of us will be there, and the other will be sitting there watching the game. So
What night is it, Curly? Friday night, is it?
Friday night, yeah. So I hope you're not gigging. So depending on the scoreline, Braggy's either going to get a lot of texts or he'll get radio silence.
Demons are looking good. Obviously, we're going to be without Mr. Pickett from that terrible head thing he did, but yeah, we'll be right.
So Rossi, you're still incredibly hectic. I saw a post from Pocket Watch the other day. EP's soon. They're sort of teasing it.
Did the final mixes last night? We should get the final mixes from our mate Richard Ball, who's been working on it with us, and it's 4 tracks of youthful exuberance. I would suggest is how I would put it.
Oh man, I can't wait.
Yeah, it's pretty good fun. There's a little something for everyone. What has been fascinating is one of the songs on it, which is the ballad "While We Sleep." Angus has had a couple of young fellas sending in cover versions of them doing it.
Wow. Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah. It kind of freaked him out a bit. He said it feels like the song's getting away from him.
Ooh.
Well, that's what happens, eh?
Yeah.
It's not yours anymore. Art is no longer yours.
That's
Once
right.
it's out there, it belongs to everyone. And then someone can take and make it what it is, which is pretty
It's
exciting.
like setting it free and flying.
That's
away.
right. Let it go. And one in particular came from a boy in Brisbane who's in a band called Polino, I think, up that way. And
Okay.
his voice is stellar. These kids, there are young men and young women all over the country playing in bands. I think the pandemic had them all locked up and practicing, and they're just coming out of the woodwork, and it's fantastic to see.
Isn't that great?
I love to see it. Yeah, I really do.
Yeah. And So that's there's a lot of music just about to be released. Alison Asarch, I was having a chat with her today, and she's got a cover version of it. Her new song's a cover coming out on April 14th.
Mm-hmm.
She gave me a bit of a teaser because I'm surprised it's a cover because Alison loves her songwriting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Bit of a teaser. She did mention Hootie and the Blowfish, and it's a ballad. So,
Ooh.
so that'll be interesting. And the other, so April 14, and I'll be hearing that for the first time when I touch down in Boston to get to the marathon.
Oh,
So
that's
there's
awesome.
another bit of useless trivia. So in other news, we've got Braggy played a killer set at the Norwood Hotel on Sunday night, my friend. It was a party on legs, man. It was started a bit slow, and then there was an old guy at the bar that was singing along, so you knew it was going to start to kick along. And
he got worse.
It was. We're only there for an hour, and we had to leave to catch the flight home. And then the flight was delayed by 2 hours, so we could have bloody stayed anyway.
So you left before the loadout.
I left before it got
really
hectic.
That's one of the rules. One of the rules: leaving for the loadout.
of
Leaving
all
for the loadout.
Worst, and officially declared the worst roadie ever. So, in other news, Mick Madu and Ursula are in Melbourne. They touch down just as Brisbane's starting to cool down. They leave the place, and they're playing in Melbourne with Dave Graney and Carol Moore. So that would be one hell of a gig, Braggy.
That's going to be awesome. Got to get him on to talk about that.
Mick's excited to be there.
Yeah, I can imagine. And I was talking to Ursula today too, so I'll share a little bit about that a little bit later on. Chris Mazurk's returning to Australia, and the one in the know is Peter Ross. So what's happening?
Yeah. Well, the first show is, I think it's the 19th of May. Check that date. It is at a new venue in Sydney, the House of Music and Booze, which is the old White Horse Hotel in St. Peters.
Yeah,
was reconstituted. Chris is playing there. He's playing with our very good friends Star Crazy, and also the opening act on the bill is your Pocket Watch.
Oh, truly?
Yeah. Pocket Watch are opening for Mazurk.
Pocket Watch and Uncle Chris.
And Uncle Chris, that's right. And the Dark Clouds from Wollongong as well, who we love.
Is Chris bringing the Wave Riders from?
No, he's picking up his Australian band, which is Stu Wilson, who's been in the New Christs, and he was in the Rivers. He's currently in a band called the Crisps, who are playing at Marrickville Bolo on the 7th of April, and Pocket Watch are opening for them too, funnily enough. And Tony, and the bass player is Tony Bambat, ex-Lime Spiders.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Who's in the Green Spiders, and we did a tour of, maybe last time Chris was out, Tony and Stu play with Chris, and they're a great band. It's a good rock and roll band. They're covering a few of the regions. They're going to Victoria. They're going all the way up to Vinnie's Dive Bar, is as far north as they're getting, which is on the Gold Coast.
Yeah,
Southport, I think it is.
Yeah, I think it's a Sunday night on the
Sunday
Gold
night,
Coast.
and they're doing Bellingen, and they're doing Geelong, and a few other things are yet to be announced. They'll drop later. And I believe for those who are Chris Mazurk fans, there could be a Sydney masterclass where he might actually do a guitar masterclass.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Braggy, that's something you should get onto.
I need to get those down strums.
I might just stand 8 foot to the left of him, just shaking my head every time he says something. That's all the story. He's got some new material that he's going to drop, and there'll be merch, and it'll be good fun. It'll be good fun to see Uncle Chris.
Yeah.
I'm getting his guitar dropped off. He's got one here, and I'm going to go through all his gear before he arrives. So that's always fun for me.
Yeah, so we'd encourage everyone who gets the chance to get out and see the legend himself play. Chris Mazurk, ex-Birdman, Tribesman, New Christs, the Hitmen, and that's just what he did, I guess, in the old days, and what he's doing with the Wave Riders, Braggy, as we know, is some pretty good cynical stuff as well, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
What's the song he sings about the lead singer? You've got
Lead singer syndrome. Lead singer syndrome.
That's a classic. That is a
Yeah.
beautiful song.
I think one of the lines in it, he's crippled and damaged for life. And I'll say that it's not only about one singer; it's about a number of different singers.
I would imagine. And
as I listen to the song, I go,
okay. You're probably picturing them. You know exactly who it's about.
I know exactly what he's talking about. Yeah, but like there was a hidden track on the record. It was hidden, and so on the EP, it was like you had to let it run for a while, and the song popped up. The first time we heard it, we've just gone, "Oh, Chris, really?" Oh, mate. Pretty funny. But that's him. He's got a very sharp wit and can be a little acerbic, very pointed, but at least he's honest.
Yeah, we might reach out and see if we can grab him for a chat while he's here. So that would be pretty
I'm sure
awesome.
We'll know where to find him. We'll know where to find him.
Yeah, but we'll just say, Rossi. Hey, the last bit of news that I've got, Jermaine, the Adelaide Sisters, they flew out of the Fringe Festival in Adelaide straight to Austin, where they opened for Bones at the SXSW Music
South by Southwest.
Yeah. So that was, and they're just getting huge. And then today they've announced another London tour. So Braggy, these girls are going to be playing stadiums in Australia very, very soon, and they're from your town, Adelaide.
How good is that?
Yeah. That's because they're good. They're really good.
Yeah, Jermaine are awesome. So I think we've missed out on the chance of getting them on.
Oh well.
We did have a chance this time last year, I think. But I think they've just exploded. So,
always ask nicely.
I every now and again, I keep sending in a bit of a request, and I'm yet to hear back.
Sounds like they're pretty busy.
But they're busy,
different time zones.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things against it. But Jermaine, I love the group. I love the music they put out, and deserving of every success that they've got. Hey, so we need help, don't we, guys? So,
oh boy, do we!
We need help in two areas, and this is a plea to our audience. So, first up, we've got our 100th episode coming up, Braggy.
We do, and we didn't know what we were going to do, did we? We couldn't figure it out. We were talking about it, and
talking about it,
and we didn't. Maybe we do this, maybe we do that. Let's drink.
I was quite happy to sort of skip it over and just keep going.
101.
But then one of the crew that is a friend of the channel said, that's Robbie Stanier from the Stanier Studios, said, why don't you make it about yourself and get the people you've had on to maybe send an email in with some questions about us. So,
yes,
like how did you get so good looking, Rossi, and things like that.
Sort of like one of those good old fashioned 360-degree reviews.
Yes.
In the corporate workplace. Tell us how we're doing.
Yeah.
Yes. So I reached out to some of those people today, some of the people that we've had on, and we've had a very positive response. We've already got 3 video questions through to us. Okay. Mr. Stanier himself was very quick to go, and I think he wants his own segment because I think the question goes for about 5 minutes.
Right.
So Rob doesn't do thing in halves, does he?
No.
I know there's a young rock band who are getting together on Sunday, and they're going to cobble something together.
Good.
And put something together. So Alison Asarch, there'll be a couple of questions from her, I believe. So
Mick and Ursula would have to be specials.
Already got the product placement. Beautiful. Ursula, she's a promo machine, can I tell you?
Oh, I know.
And so excited. And once again, just had a quick chat with her that we still haven't forgotten that we've got to get her and Mick on. So that's certainly part of our plans because, I don't know if I told you, Rossi, I was out for a run probably a couple of weeks ago and the Boxcar remix of Love Is Calling came on. And it is a great song to run to. The beats just sort of line up with your feet. I'm thinking maybe I should just do a 90-minute soundtrack of "Love Is Calling" on
Loop it.
on the dance mix. So that was cool. So
Okay.
ladies and gentlemen, if you've ever wanted, whoever's listening or watching this, we want to open it up to everyone. So is there anything that you want to know from the panel? So whether it's Rossi, whether you've got a question for Rossi. Now, remember, Rossi's had a history of working for some of Australia's finest independent, grunge, fast punk. Yeah, how many questions could you ask about that history? You know, incidences late at night.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Yes.
Which guitarist did you have to cover for most, or just refuse to go on stage and you had to play them? I'm just giving you some suggestions.
There'd be heaps of questions there.
And also with Braggy, I mean, let's face it, this Braggy's been, started your music career by, playing with your brother, and now you've got an album out with your brother, and you've worked in music shops, and you've got this whole group of people right around like Australia who who you get together with on a regular basis and play music. I'm sure that there's many listeners that probably have a couple of questions.
But there's some pointed questions that can be directed at Mr. Curl. I'm sure that as urbane and as serious as he appears, we know there's another side. There's another side.
Yeah, I think we need to delve deeper into 1986.
I have a mate who doesn't believe 1987 existed. He tells me that happened in 1987. I'm not sure it happened.
Oh, okay.
Well,
86 for me is like is like a metaphor. So we were doing this trivia thing the other night, and Braggy was asking some music question. And whenever I got it right, he'd say, well, 86, even if it might have been 85 or 87 or 88. It's just like this metaphor that, because I will tell anyone and everyone that 86 was the best year in music ever. And that's based on personal experience, of course. So
I remember it well. I had a very good time.
I'm sure you probably had a much better time than me. I was the one stealing those song lists from the front of the stage.
I seem to recall I did have a very good time, actually.
Hence the reason why you drink a lot of water now. So
that's right. That's exactly right.
So if you do want to ask a question, you can either just send us a quick message and write the question down if you want, or if you are really game, send us a video.
That'd be great.
Yeah, it would
like
be.
Unfiltered and Undiscovered does Q&A.
Yeah, the reverse panel, we're calling it. It's our 100th show. It's our reverse panel, and you can ask us, well, almost anything. So, and as the host, I get a bit of a preview of what the questions are going to be. So, and my co-host will probably be a little bit unprepared. So, if you really want to shock these two, send me some questions and we'll get them asked. So, you guys up for that?
100%.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've had worse.
Yeah, exactly.
And thanks to Rob for the idea, because it's a cracker. Now the other thing that we need help with, and this is, we want this to be a bit of a community thing, don't we, Braggy? We've been talking about writing a song as a community for a while. Mm-hmm. We've got a bit of a theme happening with there's the songs. Yeah. Well, we believe the title should be "There's Nothing Better Than a Servo Pie."
Well, now, that's your idea.
Whether you, well,
but I'm happy to run with it. I'm happy to run with it. I'm happy to run with it.
So, and I guess that's the point that we're trying to make, because there are times in life where there is nothing better than a servo pie, and just thinking about it. When Rossi jumped in the car recently after a gig and just drove home, there's probably nothing better than a servo pie on those long, lonely post-gig drives.
Definitely had a few.
What happens, Rossi, when the rider gets delivered to the wrong room and there's no food? There's probably nothing better than a servo pie.
Servo pie.
What about when you've eaten twisties all day? There's probably nothing better.
Or if you've been up to the hills all day with the curls at wineries, and then the next morning you're a little under the weather. There's nothing better. Just get, if you can find a servo in the morning.
Yeah, to get a servo pie. Now,
I think a servo pie is actually one of the food groups.
It should be by
Yeah.
itself, absolutely. Now, Braggy and I had
pizza.
Yeah, Braggy and I had a discussion around what in 100 years we might consider we look back on, or that it's unbelievable that we did. And one of the things that we will certainly not look back on is that there will still be servo pies in 100 years.
Probably the same one.
And I could probably go to some servos where it is the same one.
I remember back in the 80s, they had this unconscionable thing in Australia called El Toro burgers. They used to have a dispensing machine at some service stations that gave you a hamburger.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So let's get back to this conversation, because I've missed the Who Am I. So Braggy's got our Who Am I for today.
I copped shit for it, and I got to you make me do it, and then you forget all about like you did last week.
I know you've worked hard on this too, mate.
Yeah.
You've worked really hard. You've put in a big effort on this, mate. We really appreciate it.
So you ready for the first part?
Absolutely. So,
okay.
And last time, Braggy actually got some texts during the podcast release and saying, is it this person? Is it that person? So get involved, yeah.
Well, and it was Iggy Pop. So I'm figuring that Rossi probably would have got that one fairly early. And Big Stu, the country correspondent, he even got it early. So I'm thinking maybe he should be the punk fucking correspondent as well.
So he claims.
He probably looked it up on the internet.
What did he say was the it was the caravan and the drums?
Yeah, he lived in caravan back at his parents' place. Drumming.
Yeah. He grew up in a trailer park. Yeah,
he did.
And
he's a good drummer too.
That's when the people got it, which was in the first part. So you can't answer if you get it in the first paragraph or that I've done it in. Right? You ready?
Yep.
I was born Elias McDaniel in Macomb, Mississippi, on the 30th of December, 1928. The only child of Ethel Wilson, a sharecropper's teenage daughter, and Eugene Bates, whom I never knew. My mother was only 16, and being unable to support a family, she gave her cousin Gussie McDaniel permission to raise her son. McDaniel eventually adopted me.
And Gussie.
Yep, that's the mum and dad.
Eugene Okay.
He was born Elias McDaniel. Okay. McDaniel eventually adopted me, and I assumed her surname. My adopted father, Robert, died in 1934 when I was 5 years old. My adopted mother moved me and her 3 children to Chicago, where I grew up as an active member of Chicago's Ebenezer Missionary Baptist Church. I studied the trombone. I studied the trombone and the violin, and became so proficient on the violin that the musical director invited me to join the orchestra, in which I played until I was 18. However, I was more interested in the joyful rhythmic music I heard at the local Pentecostal church, and so I took up the guitar. That's it.
I have no idea. So, Bragg, Rossi, have you got an inkling? Or do you? I think looking at that face, you know.
I've seen him.
Oh, there you go.
It's a good tale, though. I didn't know some of that detail.
Okay.
That's good.
Cool.
That's good. I like him.
All right. So that's part 1 of the Who Am I. So let's get back to that servo pie. Now, Braggy was doing a little bit of brainstorming over the weekend, Rossi, and was coming up with a couple of potential lines and lyrics. So what we want our listeners and our viewers to do is, once again, just get on the Facebook page, message us, or, I might put a post out during the week just to add to it as we go. So you let us know where in your life has there been nothing better than a servo pie, or what sort of feelings, emotions, whether it's breakup. I don't know. Do you break up and then go out and grab a servo pie? I've never had that.
Well, because you're out late, I think it was always a bad food choice late at night.
Yeah, so we used to have, what was it in Townsville, Braggy, after you'd go to the bank or Bullwinkles, there was always kebabs or something, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
well, and here in
That's
this
newfangled.
in this great city, it's the pie floater, which I freaking love.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
it is too. It is too.
Yeah,
In
so
Brisbane,
is.
we used to line up at the windmill there at Red Hill, so just opposite the old police barracks.
Sydney had the very famous Harry's Cafe de Wheels down at
Yeah.
Woolloomooloo, where
yes.
all the ex-servicemen used to go and eat there. They've now got a few physical locations. It's not quite the same, but they make a pie floater, and I had one not 3 months ago.
There you go.
Special.
Hey, so I think though,
Yeah.
if we're going to do this, I mean, obviously words are one thing, but we're going to need music, and I'm pretty sure that I know Rossi's really busy at the moment, but I think it's got to be that pocket watchy, punky
Yeah.
style. It's got to be like, that's the feel
Yeah.
to it. I feel.
I can brief their principal songwriter, and I'm sure he'll knock something up very quickly.
Yeah. I think we only want 3 chords. That's enough, eh?
Could be one too many.
Okay, 2 then. 2's fine.
That's 3's good.
I'm happy to stick to even numbers. Hey, there's been a lot of good songs with 2 chords.
Also, I guess our listeners can be letting us know who's got the best servo pies, who's got the worst servo pies, maybe even, I mean, it's...
I got a car out the front. I could go now.
And I'd also...
You tell me where they are.
I'd also like to maybe dive a little deeper and what are we singing about? I know we're singing about the pies and stuff, but is there a deeper meaning to why we're getting the servo pie? We need some sort of moral, to the song.
Imperative.
So we're not
People-
deep diving into the pie itself, because that would be not advised.
what I'm
That's
basically
what
asking
one
is,
needs
I'm
to
asking
know.
for metaphors. I'm asking for metaphors.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and as I said, this is a community effort. We want, even if you've got 2 words that you want to bring into the song, share that with us, and let's see if we can make some magic. So, Braggy, what were some of your thoughts there? Because I know that you've done some scribbling.
We were writing them in the back of the car when we were going through the winery. So I came up with a couple of quick things.
Early or late?
My head is no, it's medium in the middle. My head is aching and my mouth is dry. Got to get me a servo pie. Bathed in sweat. Am I gonna die? Got to get me a servo pie. It's pretty simple, but that's kind of the way we're heading. I don't want no Roadhouse sandwich. I don't want no Chico roll. You specific. That's what you want. How's that?
I'm enjoying that.
You
Because
enjoying
I
it?
won't have those Chico rolls. No Chico rolls.
No,
mate.
I don't want the
They're
fucking Chico
dangerous.
roll.
They're
I want
dangerous.
the pie.
No, well, that's right.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more Australian than a
Than a
servo
meat
pie,
pie.
is there? Oh my
Oh,
God.
Heated to an inch of its life in the microwave so that it burns the shit out of you, and you dribble it down onto your chest. There we go.
All right, so we want your help with this, ladies and gentlemen. Share some inspiration for us to come up with this. What will obviously go down in the historic annals of time as one of the great Australian classics. It'll be right up there with, Smoko by the Chats. It'll be right up there with
That's the vibe we're looking for, I think.
Yeah. Am I ever going to see your face again? And by the Angels with the catch cry that's in there. We want people screaming out in the mosh pit. There's nothing better than a servo pie.
Can I tell you, I do have an entertaining story around a servo pie and a servo late at night.
Go for it. Well, before you do, let's do part 2 of the Who Am I?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
Part 2.
Yeah.
My first recordings were based on that frenetic church music. The trance-like rhythm I used in my later music came from those sanctified churches I had attended as a young man. Inspired after seeing John Lee Hooker perform, I began supplementing my income as a carpenter and a mechanic by playing on street corners with friends, including maraca player Jerome Green and guitarist Earl Hooker in the Hipsters Band, later renamed the Langley Avenue Jive Cats. In the summers of 1943 and 44, we played at the Maxwell Street Market. In 51, I landed a regular spot at the 708 Club on Chicago's South Side, with a repertoire influenced by Louis Jordan, John Lee Hooker, and Muddy Waters. In late 1954, I teamed up with harmonica player Billy Boy Arnold, drummer Clifton James, and bass player Roosevelt Jackson, eventually signing a record deal with Chess Records. That's part 2.
That's the label. That's the label.
That's the label if you're coming from Chicago.
Oh, sure is.
Yep.
Any
I've got
idea,
nothing.
Curly?
Not a
I mean, I guess from where
So
this person is
obviously
situated,
they're dead now. Yeah, they're obviously dead now because they were
They
born
are.
in 28.
they died in
Yeah.
2008. But I mean, if you
Okay,
think
famous
about
people
this
that
spot
died.
where they are, and especially the label they sign, you probably get an idea of what style of
You narrow
music,
it down.
what style of
Yeah.
music this guy would play.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't get Iggy Pop until you said "Lust for Life" last week. So
You're probably not going to get this one until the last line, the last 2 lines.
Oh,
Can't make it too easy.
I'm-
Last week, people get them in the
yeah,
first
no,
go.
well,
So-
it's we want people engaged with this, so absolutely. So share us your story, Rossi.
Okay, we'd done a show in Wollongong with a rock band, and who the band was probably doesn't matter so much. But we decided we're going to go and see one of our fellow crews. We packed up, our show finished early, they were still going, so we thought we'd go down and see their show. So we went down to see this other show, and as what happens is when crews get together, we had a special smoking ceremony amongst ourselves, and shared a few beers and
Just
a bit
to,
of a
just to
laugh.
cleanse
and-
the area, the place, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's right, all of that, and
Yeah.
welcome to Wollongong it was, and
Yeah.
so we've left there, and our eyes are all doing this, like we're all sort of walking out to our truck going, and so we realised we had to get petrol, and in those days they had garages that you could fill up that were closed, and they had a card fill where you could go put a credit card in and get fuel. And so we thought, let's go there. Now, of course, the garage was lit up like it was open, and I've bounced out of the truck going, meat pie, ran straight to the door of the garage, right? The door did not open. I hit it at full flip, bang, with this eye, bang. The door went whoop, whoop, whoop. I went down, and then I stood up, I turned around, and they all laughed at me because my eye had come up like this, right? I didn't get a pie. And so then we drove back to Sydney. But the next day, the bass player of the band saw it. Thought it was the funniest thing and did a cartoon of me with my eye up like that. And it stayed inside one of my road cases for 4 years. Every time I'd open the road case, it was me looking at me. The big eye. And it was big. I just hit this door, glass door, it went whoop, 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 and I went boom. I think Alison Manders may have been there. And I was going straight for a pie. I was going straight in to get food. That was it. Because I was very hungry at the time.
How good's that?
The pie can hurt you. It can hurt you in many ways, the pie.
It does. It does. Just, the pursuit of the pie.
Yeah, there's a line there, ladies and
another line.
gentlemen. the
Yeah,
pursuit
there
of the
is.
pie. Hey, I forgot to mention to you both and to our listeners, we reached number 31 in the Australian Top 100 Music Interview Podcast during the week.
Is that right?
I think that's one of
amazing.
the highest. Yeah, that's one of the highest ratings we've ever had. 31. So,
Was that for a
Is
particular
that the one with
episode?
Big Stew?
sorry, yeah, it wasn't necessarily. It was for the whole podcast. So
It's like an
Oh,
aggregate.
yeah, it didn't highlight which episode sort of tipped us over.
Mm.
So that was quite impressive.
Cool.
So,
Mm.
so what I might do this week, just to keep the vibe going on our farewell song at the end of the podcast, I might throw in that chat song about Smoko.
Yeah.
What
to
a
get
great song.
just to get people in the groove and to help us understand. And I might even add that to the famous Unfiltered Undiscovered podcast on.
Well, if we're going to write a
Spotify.
song, we definitely
They-
need some listening research, So that's good.
Yeah,
That song, the clip is hilarious.
It is. It is.
So
As he
fucking
sat
strange.
upon his milk crate throne. It's one of the greatest lines I've ever heard.
What's that? Because Victor Radley loved. Who's the band that Victor? You're a Roosters man.
Yeah.
You should know this. There's a band that that sings about a snitty.
Schnitty.
Yeah, like a snitty. And I've forgotten it now. I'll pick it up for next episode. But he's a big fan of that. And once again, they're an Australian song, and they speak about the pub lunch or something.
Oh, no, that's the Cosmic Psychos.
Possibly, yeah.
It is. No, it is. Yeah, yeah. Pub Feed, the song's called.
That's it.
Yeah, yeah. I worked with them briefly in the 90s, actually.
Yeah. So very similar, I guess, to what it is that we're.
But I've always viewed the chats as the sons of the Cosmic Psychos.
Okay.
But
All
yeah,
right.
bands like Pearl Jam claim that the Cosmic Psychos were one of their major influences.
Truly.
Yeah. Butch Vig, who produced Nevermind, actually did a Cosmic Psychos record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be so
Who'd have thought?
interesting. It would be so interesting to know bands around the world that have been influenced by some of the bands that you crewed for, Rossi. You know,
Yeah.
we hear it a lot with the Birdmen that
Yeah.
people were influenced, but how many influenced Spiders, the Lime Spiders? How many people have been influenced by the Screaming Tribesmen? You know,
I've actually got a Ross Knight, the bass player from Cosmic Psychos, has got his own signature fuzz pedal, and I've got it over here. It's called the Dozer, and it's designed to look like a bulldozer. It's yellow.
oh,
There you go.
awesome.
Wow.
Okay, Braggy, part 3. Because I stuffed up the timing, this is the
Okay.
final pit of the Who Am I?
Let's go.
So
Yeah.
you reckon I won't get it till the last? Okay.
You
I'll
might.
see if I can.
My stage name derived from a homemade single-stringed instrument made from a length of broom wire nailed to a house and played with a slide in the deep south was given to me by my bandmates and became the title of my first hit single. Other hits such as 16 Tons, Pretty Thing, and Say Man followed, and by the 60s, I'd already achieved legendary status with the new wave of young, white English bands taking over the American airways. Known for my signature rhythm and beat, Curly, and my rectangular-shaped guitar, my name is...
It's not
No,
Roddy
I-
Radar.
No, I've got it.
Roddy Radar had the signature wooden shaped guitar.
Okay.
No. Who?
No, Bo Diddley.
No.
Bo Diddley.
Dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun.
That's a good one.
What a rhythm.
Yeah. Everyone covered it, even
Yeah.
fucking Craig McLaughlin.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry to bring that up. Sorry to put that back in your memory, Rossi.
oh yeah. Craig McLaughlin in check
Oh.
1, 2.
Oh, that was bad.
Make it stop. Oh, it was. Mona was the one he
That's
stole
the one.
rhythm to,
Mona.
wasn't it?
Dun, dun,
Oh.
dun, dun, dun.
Hey,
Hey,
dun,
Mona.
Yeah.
It could be worse. It could be indecent obsession.
So I know how to
All
start
right.
Curly now. I just go for the old blues guys, and I've got Curly.
yeah.
Got him.
Got him.
You got me 100%. Bo Diddley. So did you get Bo Diddley? I certainly, well, as you can attest, I certainly did not. So that was a good Who Am I, Braggy. So let us know if you got it or not. Now, as always, if you've enjoyed this episode, like, review, share it. I mean, it is a lot of fun getting together and just talking about stuff. We are looking so forward to getting people's input into the 100th show. We're only a fortnight away from that, so please send your questions or your videos in as quickly as you can. Don't even think about it. Just get in front of a video camera and ask us something that you want to know about. Just don't think about it. There's nothing to worry about. We do this thing every Wednesday. We put a camera in our face. We certainly are not attractive men. So if we can do it, anyone else can do it. So please, questions, any lines or links or thoughts or concepts about there's nothing better than a servo pie, send it to us through our Facebook page is obviously the best place. Just let us know. And as I said, I'll put up a post and we'll see what we can generate through that. I know that there's a lot of artistic, creative people listening to this. So share your thoughts around the servo pie. We're on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. Check out our website, unfilteredundiscovered.com. Don't forget our playlist on the podcast. Is there anything I've forgotten, gentlemen?
Can I ask a question? Am I doing this next week as well?
I think it's yours. It's yours, baby.
How did
You're really good at
this
it.
happen?
Because this is what you were born to do, Braggy.
Right. Oh God!
Some people have greatness thrust upon them.
Yeah.
Oh.
And we'll see. And people love it because people obviously connect with that. So the lyrics from the playlist, as I said, we've got a playlist on Spotify. Well, I lived in an igloo in the polar zone, and at night I dream of a red telephone. That's the wonderful words of Ron Pino and Mick Madu. Thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. Thanks, Rossi. Thanks, Braggy. Great to see you last weekend. We'll see you all next week for episode 99 of the Unfiltered Undiscovered podcast. See you.
1, 2, 3, 4. So let me set the scene. It's 2 in the afternoon and 34 degrees. The Queensland harsh summer heat. Had me sweating buckets up and down my street. As there I spied the bloke, perched atop of his milk crate throne. He eyed me off as I approached, and then he said, I'm on smoko, so leave me alone. I'm on smoko, so leave me alone. I'm on smoko, so leave me alone. I'm on smoko, so leave me alone.
Hey y'all, I'm Allison Asarch from Nashville, Tennessee.
Hey, I'm Sean Fraser from the Ritzy Kids.
Hunters, this is Johnny from Rail Motor.
Hey, it's Shane from Blind Season.
Hey, it's Rob Stanier, and you can check out my music on all the streaming platforms.
Check out my latest music on all the streaming sites.
Check out my debut album on all streaming platforms.
Check out our new debut album.
Check us out on Spotify and Apple Music, and you're listening to our friends Braggy and Curly.
My favorite fans from Australia.
My two favourite podcasters,
Braggy and Curly.
Braggy and Curly
On the Unfiltered
and Undiscovered
podcast.